amazing people. It's another awesome moment today on the Noble Show. The show is proudly brought to you by Sea Ryan Travels and Lanelle Honey. I want to thank Lizzie Beauty Center for my beautiful hair, Ekla Bell for my makeup, and also ABS Couture for my beautiful outfit. Today on the show, we're talking to an amazing personality whose father has impacted the whole of Africa, especially here in Ghana. He is also trying to continue what his father started. Let's find out who he is. We'll be right back.
This week on the Noble Show, our guest is Kwame Nkrumah Jnr. He is the second son of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Is a Pan-Africanist and also the first vice chair of the CPP, which is his father's political party. Amongst all other passion that Kwame Nkrumah has, his major passion is to see Africa reunite.
Welcome back from the break. This is still the Noble Show. We will be talking to an amazing personality who is Kwame Nkrumah. He is the first vice chairman of the CPP and also the second son of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Welcome to the Noble Show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here with you.
It's been a long time.
Yes, but you look better with time. So it is good to see you again.
You're not looking bad yourself either.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I've known you for some time now.
Yes.
Okay, so for the sake of that person trying to know who you are, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, the most important thing, or the essence of me, I'm a Pan-Africanist par excellence. So if you squeeze anything out of me, you'll just find Pan-Africanism. I dream of united Africa. I speak, I preach Africa and the unity of Africa. In fact, I wanted to write a book in the early 80s about the unity of Africa. And there's so much that I have to, if you give me an all day, I can tell you about Africa. So in short, it is Africa and the unity of Africa that really motivates me. My dream is to see Africa united before I die. And my prayer is, even, Lord, let me see Africa united even the last 24 hours of my life. I will die the happiest man. And I will want people to have a big party, not a funeral. So my dream is to unite Africa. That is my ultimate goal of life.
Okay, were you named Kwame Nkrumah because it's your father's name, or you were born on a Saturday? Because in Ghana here, if you're born on Saturday, you have the name Kwame.
No, yeah, it's a good question. I was born on a Saturday, so that's why I'm a Kwame, and I'm the only Kwame of the children. So Kwame. When people say Kwame Nkrumah Jr., that's usually would come to me. If they cannot remember Onsi and remember just Kwame, that's fine. So yeah, I'm Saturday born.
How many children did your mother have for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah?
Just myself.
Just yourself. Okay, so half Ghanaian and half
Egyptian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So.
Well, it's pure African. You see, if Africa was united, you wouldn't say, "Are you Ghanaian or are you half Ghanaian?" You just say, "I'm an African," and I cannot wait to see the African passport with everybody. That's, as I said, that's my dream before I die. I would like to see that, and I will die the happiest man.
Okay. What is one thing that your father did that you feel that you can continue, or you saying that my daddy started this and he didn't finish, so I want to continue this?
It's basically, this is it, the Pan-African Mission, which is not finished. They started the Organization of African Union, or African Unity as it was then, in 1963. And in 1980, I was still in my early 20s, and I realized that this unity is not happening. It's not going to happen fast enough before I die, although I was very young. And I started my own Pan-African NGO at the time. And in 1980, I tried to apply for a status in the UK as a charity, but all my objectives were, or most of them were political. So the Charity Commission, they advised me, no, we cannot approve this as a charity. It's too political. If you can just leave it for medical or humanitarian or welfare or relief or even medical, something other than political, we can approve it. So I said, no, most of our objectives are political. So obviously we didn't qualify as a charity, and we created it in other forms. And that's since 1980, because I was painfully aware that unity of Africa was not going to be achieved at that slow pace. So I started United African Organization, and I've been very busy with the Pan-African arena all over the world, in Africa, in the States, in Europe, and beyond,
So
wherever.
what are some of the things specifically that you have done to show that you're trying to continue your father's legacy?
Oh, I wasn't even trying to show, it's just I was like an unknown soldier in many places. I was involved, I'm always involved. Anything African, they involve me, and I'm happy, because I told everybody in the world that matters and that cares about Africa that I'm willing to serve on any board, on any task force, on anything to do with Africa, absolutely free of charge. And if I can make my way and pay my hotel, good. If not, then I can pick up some of that stuff. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I take care of my expenses, but I don't charge for my time. I helped several countries to leave the IMF, for example, and the World Bank. And to me, these are wrong arrangements, and they usually deplete our economies. So I've helped several countries. In the turn of the century, there was, I campaigned for the African, there was a major debt relief write-off, and we were trying to appeal, we appealed, not try. We succeeded in most cases to wipe out so many of the debts of most African debts. Basically all the debts that were unsecured and who had little chance of being repaid, those were cancelled. There are some other debts which were being serviced if they attached to oil or gold or whatever, and it's being paid off through other means, they let those continue. But those who were hanging around the necks of those governments and central banks, that were just depleting the resources of the countries in question. So yeah, we were very lucky with that. I was involved personally in helping the liberation movements of Namibia, of South Africa, of South Sudan, because we needed to liberate all of African countries, politically first, and then economically. Unless we really free our economy, we are not free.
Okay.
So, but initially you have to get the political. So I was involved personally on reasonably high level with SWAPO for Namibia until Namibia gained independence. I was independent, also on a level of support with ANC. That was not on high level, but we were helpful with ANC. Obviously.
It looks like you've been all over trying to contribute your little bit.
Absolutely. The same with the Sudan, North and South Sudan. I was involved in negotiating the peace between the North and the South, and ultimately I was really closer to the founder and the first president of South Sudan, Dr. John Garang, who's late now. But I was friendly with the president of the North, that was Numeri, before Bashir, and I was involved very intimately. Both governments offered me portfolios on their cabinets, but I refused because I wanted to be an honest broker, meaning I wanted to be neutral. If I'm employed or if I'm mandated by South Sudan or North Sudan, I would be seen as the other party. So I was involved with the independence of South Sudan much more intimately than on the highest level. So it goes on. You better not ask questions like that because we could be here all day. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a little
let's
snapshot.
talk a little bit about your siblings. Are you guys, how many children or how many siblings do you have?
Okay, the children from different mothers. Obviously, Professor Francis from one mother.
Francis is the first son.
Is the first son. Prof. He's a retired professor, public health. There is myself. There are the three children of Madame Fathia, Gamal, who's in Egypt, and Samia, and Seiko.
You're like 6?
Yeah. Well, they tell us there are others who are not in the picture, but those are the known. The known ones. Yeah.
So, is there unity amongst you guys?
Well,
do you guys know each other?
Unity is an ambitious word. I mean, I love Gamal and get on well with him. That's the oldest son of Madame Fathia. I am very fond of Professor Francis, but he's, very reclusive sort of gentleman. So you don't see him on regular basis, but he's a lovely, lovable, likable, affable gentleman. So you can't help but like that gentleman. So, okay. But I'm not so intimate with anyone. Okay. The closest one to me, I'd say, or the friendliest one to me is Gamal, because perhaps we're both Piscean. We're both born in March. I was born March 57, he's born March 59. So he's a couple of years younger than me. And then comes Samia, then comes Seiko.
Okay. Knowing that your father was a man of impact, a man who had a vision and he tried to achieve it.
Yeah.
Knowing that your father is a man everyone talks about in the whole of Africa. Yeah. How does that make you feel?
Well, of course, I'm more than proud of him, of course, but I have a mixture of pride and sadness at the same time, because the sadness comes from the fact that he was snuffed out. He was still in his prime when he was abused and removed in the most horrible way by some traitors internally and some dark forces abroad. Of course, we know all the history now, but at the time it wasn't obvious. But some of those elements locally are now being celebrated like they're part of our independence. They are not. They should not be seen as part of our struggle, because they were really against the struggle almost every step of the way. On the ground, in parliament, on every level. So, as I say, there's a sense of pride tinged with a touch of sadness that he was not allowed to finish his work. But that gives me the sense of duty, that it is my duty and my burden to finish his work to the best of my ability. I was trying to do it quietly from my own NGO and my own personal connections with government and so on. But now I'm also on the Ghanaian scene, trying to see how best we can revive and restore the CPP. It's not easy, because other parties are not happy to see CPP to rise up. And I believe that Ghana will not prosper properly until and unless CPP is revived properly. That's my personal belief, and I'm entitled to it, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, let's take a break. We're still talking to Kwame Nkrumah Jr. He's sharing a lot with us today on the show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Are you planning a trip, or you're going for a holiday with a lot of destinations all over the world? Just decide on where you want to go, and see Rhine Travels will take you there. We offer UAE visa, air ticketing, tour packages, hotel reservations, corporate travels, and many more. You can contact Searine Travels on 0264 623 091 or 0302 408067. You can email Searine Travels at c.rhinetravels@gmail.com. Searine Travels. You pack, we plan.
Welcome back from the break. This is still the Noble Show, and we're talking to Kwame Nkrumah Jr. Kwame, let's talk about your father's party, CPP.
Yeah.
You have been interested in politics since you were 20, trying to set up your own NGO to get into politics. But why didn't you do something on your own? Why did you decide to take up your father's party and then work on that instead?
Right, that's a very good question. Well, okay, so politically I have two interests. Pan-Africanism is in my blood. Nobody really taught me. I grew up since I was less than 5. I knew about Africa. Nobody really instructed me. So I find that in my blood, in my genes, if you like. Also, the CPP aspect. Well, number one is my father's party. Number two is the Independence Party. And number three, it's also a very Pan-African party. So the Pan-Africanism is really subsidiary of CPP, if you like. And once upon a time, CPP was the greatest party in Africa, not in Ghana, just Ghana. But I believe CPP has the spirit for Ghana, and it's the one that birthed Ghana into being and formed the first government, of course, and formed all these great projects that we can still see today, although most of them are not functional, or a lot of them are closed down, but some of them, like the power projects, Tema Township, Tema Harbor, refinery, motorway, I can go on obviously, but I will not go on. So CPP, I believe, is integral part of Ghana. So when I think Ghana, I think CPP. And in fact, also Pan-Africa, as I said, also CPP. But I obviously I don't preach CPP outside Ghana because I have enough to preach.
But do you someday want to be the president of this country? Are you working towards that, or you have that in mind?
Well, I would like to see CPP back in Flagstaff House.
You didn't answer my question, Kwame.
Well,
would you personally want to be, or would you someday desire to be the president of the country?
Well, you see, in politics you can never say never. But I always try to find other people to back. But they've always let me down. So I don't know.
But how did you get into CPP? Did you have people who...
Oh, I've always been in CPP for more than 20 years. I mean, CPP was reformed in 1992.
But I noticed that Samia was there, your sister was there.
Yeah.
And is she still there?
Well, according to our constitution, she's no more there because she stood against CPP in Jomoro in 2020 for parliament as an independent. As per our constitution, that disqualifies her. But she can always repent, obviously, and come back if she has the remorse. And
but when she was there, did you give her the support she needed as a
sure.
brother?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely campaigned for her in the Trade Fair Congress where she stood for the chair and leader. I was there the night before. I spoke almost to every delegate to vote for her. My cousin, who's late now, Nana, he was campaigning for Professor Deli, and somebody, I can't remember who was promoting the incumbent at the time. But me and Professor Akosa were campaigning for Samia, not by arrangement. It just happened that I found him on the grounds the night before. And the next day, throughout the day, I sat next to her. Even Gamal contacted me at the end of the day saying well done for supporting Samia's bid. And she became the chairperson. And, well, she didn't do as I wanted, obviously.
But with the latest political trend in Ghana, it's either NPP or NDC. I'm not into politics,
Yes,
but
yes.
it's obvious. You could see that it's either NDC or NPP.
Yeah.
Do you think that CPP has the chance to rise up again like the way it used to be?
Sure. I mean, look, the first CPP came from nowhere. And they had no history, no track record. And they came from nothing and they became the party of independence and government. So I believe even if we're zero today, which we're more than zero because at least we have history and track record, I believe we can rebuild ourselves from zero or from wherever we find ourselves. The problem is the duopoly, the two names you're referring to, both MPP and NDC, they have an interest to keep us down for obvious reasons because they want to.
You think they're fighting you
I
guys
don't
in
think I know they wouldn't want us to rise up. It's just a fact.
Why do you say that? You have any evidence or you've seen some signs or something?
They don't deny it. It's a fact. It's an undeniable fact that MPP wouldn't want CPP to be in power. You know, it's normal. You know, it's just.
Who is your flag bearer now?
Well, obviously, we don't have one now. The last one was Green Street, and the last election, obviously, he did very badly. So no comment there, but that's the name. He didn't do well at all. But we need, obviously, to have an attractive candidate, a winsome candidate, an electable candidate that we can see as a potential president. Not just a candidate. We need a real person who has passion for Ghana and who really loves the CPP. In other words, a Nkrumahist, not just a party member that could have been implanted by MPP among us or NDC. Because this happens. The other two parties, they send people amongst us and their loyalty actually is not for CPP.
Okay.
That's part of our problem.
If you were given an opportunity to change one thing in Africa, not to continue what your father did, but personally, if you're given an opportunity to change just one thing and make one huge impact, just one in Africa, what would you do?
Oh, the unity of Africa. And as I said, it's my dream. That is one thing. If I achieve it, I say, okay, Lord, take me any moment. I'm ready to go home.
So you want Africa to get united again?
That's it.
And how do you intend to do that?
Well, what I've decided to do with my NGO, we could not, our heads of states of Africa normally are very comfortable controlling their little bit of territory and a little bit of tribalism there and the resources. So they're too selfish to let go. That's the problem. So my concept, my NGO's concept, is I will sign up every African who will talk to me. And eventually we'll have the critical mass to sway enough governments to join us. So now I'm signing up every African, I mean, you will be one of the members soon. And the crew will be registered if they want to talk to me again. So we are signing up everybody to unite them, even one by one. If I have to speak to every African, I will do so. And not only every African in the continent, but we have Africans in Brazil, and the Caribbean, African American. And I mean, Africans have been slaved and sold everywhere in the world. And so the diaspora, maybe not as many as we have here on the mainland Africa, but we have hundreds of millions of Africans or people of African descent abroad. So we're signing up every African person or African descent, man, woman, child. And one day we'll have enough millions to say, okay, we can declare Africa united.
What is one trait in your father that you can see in yourself, that you can boldly say that I took this from my father, or my father was this and I believe I have that, I took that from my father?
Well, the love of Africa and the vision for Africa, that we can never prosper being disjointed and cut to pieces as we are now. Nobody taught me that. That is in my blood. My Pan-Africanism and my passion for Africa is just in my blood. And the love of Africa and how to unite Africa and how we should be for each other and not to be selfish. The selflessness as well is from him. I know he was extremely selfish as a man, and he was a man of vision.
What was one thing that he taught you when he was alive?
Oh, he
That
didn't
you
instruct
would
me.
not forget.
He did not instruct me directly, but as I say, that's why even it is all the more powerful for me. I found all those qualities in my constitution as if he taught me. And when I started to read his writings and books and so on, I was amazed, like we're reading from the same script. I wanted to write a book, as I said, 1980, Africa Must Unite, but I was playing with the title. I didn't know he wrote the book already. But, people alerted me and they said, by the way, although in Ghana they burned all the Nkrumah books, but you're aware that there's a book written, Africa Must Unite? I said, no, I haven't seen that yet. So that put me off writing the book, or delayed writing of the book. But I'm going to issue that delayed one, because now I can see from a more contemporary point, because my book of 1980 would be very different from what I would write today. So I'm on it, but the book is not ready to come out yet. So, I mean, that, as I said, reading the same script, feeling I'm anointed by the same anointing. And when the elders of my family received me home, and they prayed over me, and it was very touching. My father's cousin, who received me home, he was over 100. And when I went to our family home, he said, I've done everything in life except to receive you home. Your father instructed me personally that I must receive you, and I must hand over his mantle over you. I must pray over you, and then the ancestors will receive me.
Yeah, getting to that, I noticed you are more into Christ, like you're a Christian, even though your mom is a Muslim.
No, my mother is actually, well, she's late now, but strangely, my mom died on 6th of March 2017 on Ghana's Independence Day 4 years ago. That was very remarkable. I was actually
Muslim?
No, she is Christian. Like
I thought she was Muslim because she's from Egypt.
Yes. Well, Madame Fadheya is also a Coptic Christian. So Muslims find it difficult to give because Islam doesn't really allow a Muslim family to give their daughter to a Christian man. So both my mother and Madame Fadheya were Christian. Copt is the race. That's the Coptic. You could be a Coptic Orthodox, Coptic Catholic, Coptic Evangelicals. So Copt is the race. So they were both Coptic by race. That's the original.
If you don't mind me asking this question, why didn't your father marry your mother and choose another woman?
You mean, so it's not only my mother, there were other children, as I said, Francis, and the Professor Francis. Why, you can ask the same thing, why wasn't his mother blessed to stay with him as his wife, or the mother of Elizabeth, who was unknown to most Ghanaians. Actually, mother of Elizabeth was a member of parliament here.
Elizabeth is Francis' sister, right?
Yeah, it's our sister, my sister as well, but from another mother. Mary Coranting was a member of parliament, and she had a short relationship with our father, and she gave him Elizabeth. And so the pattern was like this. When he was fighting for Ghana's independence and fighting for African freedom in general, not just for Ghana, he was working with all the African freedom fighters, as you know. His mind was not on a family issue. So that's part of his selflessness. Some people think he was a liberal, playful man, who has so many. The truth of the matter is, his mind was really focused on a family. But he tried to. He looked for my mother after independence, but my mother was then married. I was born, as I said, with Ghana. I was born in March '57. Mrs. and Mr. Senari were sent by him to Egypt in June '57 to look for her and for me, and that wasn't obviously feasible because she was married recently.
Okay, so when your father sent people to Egypt to look for your mother and you, when they got there, your mother was already married to somebody.
Yeah, so they stayed in Egypt until they found Madame Fathia, who was obviously a young Miss
Okay,
Fathia.
that's when they found Fathia.
Yeah,
Okay.
they stayed there between June and December of '57, and they came back to Ghana at the last day, 31st of December '57, and then when they arrived to Ghana, they called my father and said, "We think we have a wife here for you. Please
Okay,
come."
so let
And
me get the story right.
yeah,
Your father sent people to Egypt to get you and your mother
yeah,
and bring you to Ghana, right?
yeah,
And when they got there, your mother was married.
yeah,
So they had to look for another person,
Another-
and that's when they found Madame Fathia.
Yeah.
And they brought her to Ghana to marry your father.
yeah. It took
Okay.
some months, but eventually they came, as I said, back from Egypt the last day of '57. So the marriage happened with amongst the cabinet. His immediate friends were the cabinet members, basically, and that was the night of 31st of December, 1957. So she started being an official wife as of the beginning of 1958. In other words, and strangely, according to Mrs. Senari, she didn't speak a word of English, and it took her almost a year to start to communicate. So a lot of history there.
Let me ask you one last question before we end the show.
Yeah.
What is one challenging moment in your life, considering the fact that you never had time to you had no time to spend with your father because he was busy all over?
Yeah.
What was one challenging moment in your life?
Well, there are several challenges, but maybe I will refer to something more recent, so it can have some relationship to the people who are watching us in Ghana today. What is most challenging to me today is the condition of CPP. Some of the senior elders called on me last time to chair CPP and try to rebuild it, and I accepted. I tried to see if but at the time Professor Daly was standing, and some of the elders said it's better to leave him unopposed. So I said okay. So we let him go unopposed. This time I was going to stand. That is in August last year. I came to stand for chair to do the same, to rebuild the party. And I interviewed one or two people, and the woman that I felt she would do well for the party, I decided to stand down and not to contest her, and to support her, rather, endorse her.
So your
Now
challenge
she's
rather has got to do with CPP not
Yeah.
doing well as you expected it
Yeah,
to.
basically. And that challenge was that I believe that I should have stood for the chair,
Okay.
and I stood as a vice chair and now a first vice. And
But it's not too late, you can try again, right?
it's not, well, never too late, so long you're alive, I guess. But I hope, despite this, choice, which we have challenges with this lady who is now our chairperson. She has her own personal system and personal team,
Okay.
and that's not working very well for CPP. But I pray and I believe that CPP will rise up. I just hope she doesn't delay our progress.
Okay. What will be your last words on the show to somebody watching the show?
Yeah, I want to encourage every Ghanaian to embrace Pan-Africanism as the way forward. I want us all to sign up as United African. If governments are not cooperating with us, we will force governments. And I believe that if we can believe in a united Africa, we will really do very well. Obviously, if everyone watching us will join CPP, that would be wonderful. But that is just on a lighter note. Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure. Thank you very much.
We talk some more after the show.
Surely.
Because it's been a while, actually.
Yes, of course.
Thank you so much for staying with us on the Noble Show.
Absolutely.
The show was brought to you by C. Ryan Travels and Lanelle Honey. My hair was styled by Lizzie Beauty Center. And my beautiful dress was made by ABS Couture. Thank you so much for sticking and staying with us. I hope you share the show. You can follow us on Facebook, The Noble Show, Instagram, The Noble Show, and on YouTube, The Noble Show. You can also visit our website, www.thenobleshow.online. See you same time next week. Stay blessed.